Hello. I had an idea of making a video all about my books that are animal and wildlife themed, and it turns out I have quite a few. It seems that you don't realise how many you've got until you put it all together, and then it's like, I've got a decent collection. And I haven't deliberately collected animal books, it's just what I'm drawn to. And yeah, so let's get into it. Animals are my passion. Like, they are, animals and wildlife are what I love and what I would love to eventually do voluntary work and all kinds of things in. Yeah, and do you see it in the background? Do you see that? I'm so proud of that, actually. It's a diamond painting, and I don't know how many diamonds are in that painting total, but it's it took days, like it took hours, I don't even know. I would spend an average of about 3 hours a day on it some days. Some days I wouldn't do any, some days I'd only do maybe an hour. And the challenge for me was at night time, like in the evening, because once the natural daylight had gone, it was really hard to see the, especially the dark colours, it was really hard to see the letters and the numbers. But we got there, and that's the finished product. I like it. It's turtles, as you can see. I love the ocean, so I'm also quite proud of managing to put it up on the wall, because I was debating, like, how am I going to stick it? I don't want to bother with like nails and hooks and things like that, so I got these little dots that you stick on, little strips, and you stick them on the back and then stick them on the wall. And the idea is that apparently they're quite easy to remove as well if I want to take it down. But it took a few minutes to get it straight, but generally it went okay, and I think it makes a nice background for this video. So there we go. I've got 2 other diamond paintings, and one's like an African safari themed picture, and the other's like 2 white tigers in a jungle. So maybe when they're finished and up on the wall, they'll feature at some point. Yeah, so let's get into the books anyway. So let's start with the veterinary pile. So I think I'm going to start with Noel Fitzpatrick, the super vet. Okay, so I have met the super vet. If I knew how to do it, maybe I'd be able to do this at a later date. I actually had a picture taken with him, which was amazing. Like, it was nerve-wracking. Like, for anyone, meeting someone they admire is scary, and you know, most people probably get quite nervous. But if you add social anxiety and autism to the mix, it's terrifying. But at the same time, you want to meet this person and you don't want to miss out on the opportunity. So I met him. I went to a book signing and got to have my picture taken with him, and then we attended a talk in the evening, which was amazing, and I got my book signed. A couple of them, not all of these are signed, some of them are. Actually, I've missed one off. Before I go through these, there's also a book he wrote, I can't remember what it's called, but it's about his dog Kira, and it's written as if Kira is talking, and it's I haven't actually read it because my own dog Daisy died a few years ago, and it gets to me. But we met him a second time. Well, we didn't really meet him as such, but we went to a second event, and he was talking specifically about this new book about Kira. And oh my goodness, I cried. I probably wasn't the only person crying in that. You could hear a few sniffles, you know. It was emotional for any dog owner, especially for someone who's lost a dog. So anyway, let's do a little, like, you know, shout out to Kira here. Like, yeah. Anyway, So I've not got that book here, that's down there somewhere, but anyway, that one's signed. But these are the ones, some of them. So we've got Listening to the Animals, and I think this was this his first one? I think this is his first book. From growing up on the family farm in, I don't know how to pronounce it, in Ireland, where he was first inspired to enter the world of veterinary science, to founding Fitzpatrick Referrals in Surrey, Noel recounts this often surprising journey in a memoir that is as life-affirming as the TV show with which he made his name. We meet the animals that paved the way, from calving cows and corralling bullocks to bionic cats and dogs, and of course his beloved Kira, the scruffy border terrier who has been by Noel's side throughout his extraordinary career. Listening to the Animals is ultimately a story of hope, love and compassion, and about rejoicing in the bond between humans and animals that make us the very best we can be. So yeah, that's that one. I haven't read much of it. I've probably read about 3 chapters, maybe a bit more. And I've got a bookmark in so I can tell you. I'm up to page 134, but I've not read it for a while. I have a tendency, you will notice this, to start a book with good intentions, get into it, and then about 3 chapters in, I abandon it. I just can't stay focused and motivated, so I abandon it and either read something else or don't read for weeks or months, but it's something I'm going to try and work on. But anyway, this one, yeah, it's, in the first chapter he talks about when he was a little boy, and he, it's just very moving, the first chapter, about wanting to make a difference in the world and wanting to help the animals, and he prayed on a star that one day he would be able to do that, and it's just really moving. Yeah, that's the first one. And then we have Super Pets and Me. I haven't read much of this. I'm probably going to say that about all these books, but I haven't read much of this. I personally couldn't get into it, and it's not a reflection of the book, it's just I can't really remember much about it, but it's kind of like his experiences with different animals and different surgeries he's done, and kind of an account of that. But it's not just factual, it's not really fiction, I don't think. It's I don't think it is. I think it's kind of like, it's more for young adult, like children and younger people. I mean, anyone can read it, but it's anyway, I'll read the back. I grew up with creatures large and small on a farm, and since then I've treated thousands that have come through the doors of my veterinary practice. I have been blessed with many animal companions, and I have learnt life lessons from all of them. Some of them have made me smile or taught me something important, and some of them have changed my life for the better. I hope that reading about our adventures together will do the same for you too. So yeah, it's about his interactions with animals, the ones he's helped, and what he's learnt from them, ultimately. I apologise in advance to Noel Fitzpatrick if I'm not doing him any justice here, if I'm not explaining things very well, but you know, he's an amazing guy, and yeah. Vetman. I've read all of this. I have read all of Vetman. Yeah, this is really good. This is primarily for children, but that suits me because I have a very, I won't go into detail here, but my brain has been not damaged, but it's been, my cognitive ability has been affected massively by all sorts of things. So a children's book is ideal for me, and especially I was like, a book written by the super vet that's a nice easy level, reading level, you know. I really like this. Yeah, this is about ultimately these 2 kids come across Vetman, and they find out the word. I can't. I've not read it recent enough to explain properly, but I'll read the back. It's. I'm not going to do it any justice by trying to put it in my own words, so I'll read the back. When Imogen and Finlay uncover a terrible plot that puts dogs and cats across the land at risk, there's nobody else they can turn to apart from the incredible Vetman. Vetman is no ordinary vet. He has an amazing clan of bionic animal friends and special healing powers. But the clock is ticking, and the villain they face has hatred in his heart. Can they find his lure before it is too late? So yeah, I would recommend Vetman for anybody, children or adults. It's really good. I thought some of these books I'm going to read little extracts from. So here's Vetman. Vetman leapt off the platform, more agile than she'd seen him before, as though the very air of this place was filling him with new life. He swung his arms open wide as the animals and birds swept towards him in a giant embrace of fur and feathers and scales. Last of all, a small elephant lumbered out from one of the alcoves, flexing an articulated trunk that looked like shining aluminium and giving a loud trumpet. "Welcome, my friends," said Vetman over the din. "Welcome to the bionic bunker." Yep. And then these two are, as you can see, we've got Beyond Super Vet, How Animals Make Us the Best We Can Be, and Being the Super Vet, How Animals Saved My Life. So Beyond Super Vet, I believe, was the most recent book that came out, and I admit I haven't read it. I haven't read either of these. I might have read a little bit of each, but from what little I've read and from meeting him and from watching his program, I would recommend anything by Noel Fitzpatrick. It will teach you things, it will make you think about things in different ways, or and it just fuels empathy and compassion, and especially for animals. But what's amazing about the Super Vet is he also, yes, it's largely about the animals, but also the relationships between animals and humans, and their animals and their owners. And I don't believe Noel refers to them as owners. Have I got that wrong? Anyway, the relationships between humans and animals, and yeah. Next on the veterinary one is Janie the Vet. My brother got me this for Christmas. So she moved out to Sri Lanka, I believe, and set up a charity for stray dogs. And I really need to finish this because I started it and she's amazing, really. Some days I wondered what had possessed me to give up my nice life in the UK 5 years ago and move my whole life to Sri Lanka to work with the street dogs. But moments like this one right here were my answer. Yeah, I think I've marked a section to read. Have I? Oh, right, at the beginning we have... In 2014 and in her mid-20s, Jenny Lowes has been a vet for just 2 years when she left her home in County Durham and went travelling visiting Sri Lanka. She was horrified to see the state of so many of the island's dogs, in particular the 3 million street dogs. 3 million street dogs. You can't even imagine, can you? With very little equipment, she and her small team came up with new and ingenious ways to treat the animals. In this highly inspiring and heartfelt book full of challenges and adventures, Janie introduces us to the world and the tireless work she carries out. As she says, "I feel as though all these dogs are my dogs and I have a responsibility to them." Yep. And then we have Tales from a Young Vet by Joe Hardy. Someone I follow on Instagram suggested this, not directly to me, but she mentioned it in one of her videos, and it's good. It's a decent, like I said, I really do apologise, but I haven't read hardly any of these. I've read all the way through. In fact, apart from Vetman, I don't know if I've read any of these all the way through. Or one I have, but anyway, this anyone who's interested in veterinary science or vet nursing or anything like that, I considered being a vet nurse. In fact, I had my heart set on it for at least 2 years. And then for many reasons, I've decided that is not the path for me. It's not the right thing. So, but it's still, it's good for anyone, any animal lovers. And then we have exotic vetting. This is a little bit more my kind of thing because I love like wildlife, and this is basically a man's experiences with treating exotic animals and wildlife and the stories behind it all. So yeah, exotic vetting, extraordinary stories of treating amazing animals. And we've got like some gorgeous photography in there, you know, some really lovely pictures. Look, elephant. I love elephants. One of my favourite animals. But yeah, some gorgeous photography in here. And it's so, I really want to get back into reading. Every time I do a book video, I'm always like, I need to get back into reading, and I genuinely do. Even if it's just a paragraph a day or just skimming or whatever it takes to do a bit more reading, because it's good. But yeah, there's a section about oh, this isn't the one. I think I'm getting the books confused. But it's good. It goes into like specific species, and yeah, it's good. From fixing a tarantula's broken leg, how'd you do that? To sedating a tiger, shows the highs and lows of wildlife veterinary medicine. He also offers tips on how to escape when the patient unexpectedly wakes up. Yeah. Next we have this one's kind of similar, I suppose. The Unexpected Truth About Animals. This was from Waterstones, and I haven't read it, but I've read a bit. I think, did I? No, I didn't read any of it actually. I haven't read any of this. But this will probably come in really useful because I'm considering a course in anthrozoology next September, possibly. So this will actually be really good. Yeah, this is the one I was thinking of. She goes into like each chapter's about a specific species. So you've got a moose, a sloth. So in the bit about the chapter on sloths, we have: to see them in the trees is akin to watching Swan Lake in slow motion. They pirouette, sway and dangle with the grace and control of a Tai Chi master. But if you turn the sloth the right way up, gravity removes their dignity. Their limbs sprawl on the ground and they are forced to drag themselves forward by the hooks of their arms, as if mountaineering on a flat surface. Bless them. I'd love to see a sloth. But yeah, that's that one. So yeah, there's a mixture of fiction and non-fiction here, isn't there? But this is good if you want sort of factual, but also a story. You know, you've got someone telling a story of their accounts and their experiences, but at the same time you learn facts. So it's good. Next we have elephant books. I've actually got 3 books, elephant themed. And it wasn't deliberate, it just kind of happened. The Elephant's Tale by Lauren. Do you pronounce it St. John? I remember doing Jane Eyre at school and St. John was actually pronounced St. John for that book, but I don't know whether it still is. But anyway, this is The Elephant's Tale. So I apologise to her. I don't know how to, I'm not sure how to pronounce her surname. Got, when a sinister stranger threatens Martine's home at Sorbonne Game Reserve and her beloved white giraffe, Jemmy, she is determined to try everything in her power to save them. To do that, she and her best friend Ben must risk their lives by travelling to the Namibian desert. There they uncover a plot so terrible it threatens the existence of every person and animal in the land. An enjoyable, action-packed tale. She has a few books actually out about like animals, and it mentions a giraffe in this one. Even it's about the elephants. Yeah, it is about elephants mostly, this one, but some sixth sense told Martine that the elephant's heart was failing because it had been broken. Her freedom and family had been stolen from her. She had nothing left to live for. Yeah, that's that one. But she does bring up, there is one about giraffe, I believe. Yeah. The Elephant Whisperer. I've read a bit of this, and it's about when South African conservationist Lawrence Anthony was asked to accept a herd of rogue wild elephants on his game reserve in Zululand, his common sense told him to refuse, but he was the herd's last chance of survival. Dangerous and unpredictable, they would be killed if Anthony wouldn't take them in. As Anthony risked his life to create a bond with the troubled elephants and persuade them to stay on his reserve, he came to realise what a special family they were. From the wise matriarch Nana, who guided the herd, to her warrior sister Frankie, always ready to see off any threat, and their children who fought so hard to survive. With unforgettable characters and exotic wildlife, this is an enthralling book that will appeal to animal lovers and adventurous souls everywhere. Yeah. The Child's Elephant. This is nice. This is a lovely book, actually. I've only read 53 pages, but this was lovely. I started this ages ago, like months ago, if not longer. And it's really lovely. When a baby elephant is orphaned on the African savannah, a young boy named Bat takes her home. But Bat's grandmother knows that Maya cannot stay with them forever. The call of the wild will always be sounding in her soul. Then Bat and his best friend are snatched by soldiers and catapulted into a terrifying new life. Will the bond between Bat and Maya be strong enough to save them? So they're the elephant books. Okay. Right. Now we have the Africa collection. So we have Gorilla Dawn by Jill Lewis, and I've only read, it shows how good this is because I've only read 34 pages. Do you like my hedgehog bookmark? I've only read 34 pages, but it is really good. It's really intriguing and really kind of, if I had better concentration, this would be one of those books you don't want to put down. It's a really lovely book. It's quite I think there's a bit of a, I don't know if traumatic is too strong a word. It's got its dark bits in it, but I think it's going to be an absolutely lovely read. And yeah. Deep in the heart of the African jungle, a baby gorilla is captured by a group of rebel soldiers. Imara and Bobo are two children also imprisoned into the rebels' camp. When they learn that the gorilla is destined to be sold into captivity, they swear to return it to the wild before it is too late. But the consequences of getting caught are too terrible to think about. Will the bond between the gorilla and the children give them courage they need to escape? I want to see gorillas in the wild as well. Like Mighty Joe Young is one of my favourite films. Then I can't really say much about this because I haven't even opened it yet, but Mufasa. It's the book of the film. Mufasa, the film of Mufasa is so good. Like, you never know with a sequel, do you? But I love anything to do with The Lion King. It is my favourite Disney thing. I love the remakes. I know a lot of people are a bit sceptical about remakes, you know, it's personal preference, but I love them. I think they're amazing. Pumbaa is so cute in the remake. He's adorable. So that's Mufasa. Then we have this little Tales from Africa book. This is really cute. This was, I can't remember where this came from. I just saw it somewhere. I think it was one of those where you give a donation and you get a book. This is a cute little book. Sometimes I take this with me if I've got like a hospital appointment or something. And a little extract here. The drying oasis with a single desert rose, the 6 sand dunes arranged in neat rows, the 7 cacti that never seemed to dry, and the tower that carried voices to the sky. So anyone close to me knows that I love Africa. Like, I've not even been yet, but I've fallen in love with the place and the animals, the wildlife. And yeah, so Africa's a big one for me that I want to visit someday. Hopefully not in the too distant future, but we'll just have to see how it goes. And then we have, of course, Out of Africa by Karen Blixen. Read this. If you love Africa, if you've been to Africa or you hope to go to Africa, read this. I read a few pages. I picked it up again recently on the way to an appointment. I sat on the train and I took it with me, and it's good. Like I found it requires a bit of concentration, but that's probably just me because my concentration's not great, as I've said. But if you take it paragraph by paragraph, and it gives you a really good insight into what Africa, just Africa as a whole, the people and the scenery and even the weather. Like, she just goes into the detail is amazing, and it just really gives you a good feeling of Africa. And I mean, obviously, it's probably things that have probably changed now from, you know, the history and everything's probably very different now to it was in this book when this was written. When was this written? It was in 1914 when she moved to Africa, so quite a while ago. Yeah, it's a poignant farewell to her beloved farm out of Africa describes her strong friendships and the people of the area, her affection for the landscape and animals, and great love for the adventurer Dennis Finch Hatton. The film is really good, Out of Africa. Oh, Robert Redford died recently. That's sad. But Out of Africa is a really good film. I think either Out of Africa or The Horse Whisperer was the first thing I saw with Robert Redford in. But yeah, it's a really good film. I would recommend. And next we have in this I haven't started, Into That Forest by Louis Nora. Two girls, two tigers, wild and free. I'm not 100. What's this about? We were lost, and the only thing that could help us were the tiger. In that forest is the extraordinary tale of two girls lost in the wild, rescued and adopted by Tasmanian tigers. It's a story of survival, freedom and love, astonishingly vivid and achingly poignant. It will transport you to Australia's wild frontier and stay in your mind long after you finish reading. Right, so this isn't part of the Africa range then, this is Australia, but still it's animal-y, wildlife, jungle-y, so we have that. And next we have horses. I love horses. I enjoy horse riding. I've only been a few times, but I do really enjoy it. Yeah, I love horses. So we have The Horse Whisperer. Again, the film is really good, but the book, I can't remember if I read the whole book when I was a teen. I remember I first came across it when I was a teenager, and I owned a copy of the book that was just falling apart. I think I got it from a charity shop anyway. But then the longer I had it, it was just falling apart. So I recently treated myself to a new copy. And yeah, I would recommend The Horse Whisperer, the book, the film. The book is not very different, but there are differences between the book and the film. Like the ending, which I won't spoil. The only complaint, it's not really a complaint, but it's a personal thing. The only thing I'm not keen on about The Horse Whisperer is the affair between Grace's mum and, what's her name, Annie, and the Horse Whisperer. That is the only thing, but that's only because I'm not really into romance. So for me, I'd rather it just be about the horse and about Grace and the trauma aspect, maybe with a hint of romance. But but that's just a personal thing. It's not a criticism of the book as such, because it is a really good book. But yeah, my second horse novel is Coming Back by K.L. Denman. After surviving a horrific car accident and developing PTSD, Julie seeks healing with a therapy animal. She buys a horse, and she and her new mare go through some ups and downs as both get to know each other. Taking care of a horse is a lot to handle, and Julie is thrown off balance both emotionally and in the saddle. Will Julie and the horse Scarlet be able to heal their broken spirits? So it's a lovely little story. I've read all of this. It's a lovely little story about I've struggled with PTSD and trauma, and I love horses. So, and I might have some kind of equine therapy at some point. So I love this. It's a nice little read, and the way the character and the horse both almost heal each other, they almost help each other with their own traumas, and that's a beautiful thing. It's a lovely example of the relationships between humans and animals and how we can help each other So yeah, that's a nice little book. Next we have two, these aren't really, I don't know, other than snowy books, I don't really know what to categorise them as. This could be a really good one for me to start reading soon as we're going into winter, and because I love snow and wildlife, and because it looks like a nice short book. So we have The Storm Leopards by Holly Webb. The countdown to Christmas has begun and Isabel is enjoying a family day out at the zoo. As her sister watches the penguins, Isabel is the only one to catch a glimpse of the snow leopard with its beautifully spotted silver-grey coat and long fluffy tail. Fascinated by these endangered creatures, Isabel tries to find out what she can do to help protect them. Little does she know she's about to be whisked into her very own magical snow leopard adventure where her mother and her cubs are in danger. Yeah. And then we have The Sight. So this was from Book Cycle, and I just like the front cover. I like wolves. And it sounds quite intriguing as well. It's another sort of snowy, icy book. It is an icy night in the country that long ago was known as Transylvania. The wintry ground crackles as a hunter's paw breaks the hard earth. The wolf pauses, her breath like smoke in the cold air. Then a howl pierces the night, but it is her eyes, not her howl, that speak of danger. Beware of the sight. Intriguing. I've marked a passage. Soon the cubs were trotting along, sniffing everywhere and enjoying their sudden taste of freedom. In no time at all, Larka's head was bursting with questions about everything around her. The river glittered brilliantly, and the trees on its edge were alive with birdsong. Everywhere fluttering shapes spotted in the leaves, and dragonflies flashed sparks of colour through the blue. Carr was delighted, and Fell's head was soon full of dreams and adventures that he felt he was floating through the air. That sounds nice. Okay, the last little pile. I apologise that my reading isn't great. I stumble over words. So you just bear with me. And here we go. So this is like a young adult children's short section. This is fun. This is Toto, the Wizard of Oz by Michael Morpurgo. I don't know how to pronounce that. But it's good. I can tell you what this one's about because I've read some of it. It's basically a retelling of, not a retelling, but it's the Wizard of Oz as told by Toto the dog. So it's from his perspective. So that's a fun little read. It's nice and easy. I think are the pictures? Yeah, it's pictures. Okay. Bit of cardboard. I must have used that as a bookmark. And this next one, actually, we'll go with Watership Down. Oh, has anyone seen Watership Down? Like, it is so emotional. From what I don't know if there's different versions, because one I saw years ago is a bit different to another one that I've seen, and I'm not 100% sure which is. I think the one I saw, I had DVDs of years ago. I don't think it was the original. I can't remember, but it gets quite dark. I suppose it's the brutal reality of wildlife and survival in the wild, and sadly graphic, sad things happen in nature, but it is a lovely read, and it's yeah, for any rabbit lover or wildlife lover, or it's a nice read, and it's nice it being from the perspective of the rabbits as well. They've all got names, and yeah. Fiver could sense danger. Something terrible was going to happen to the warren. He felt so sure of it. So did his brother Hazel, for Fiver's sixth sense was never wrong. They had to leave the warren, and so a small band of rabbits begin a long and perilous journey. Okay. Next we have The Forever Whale by Sarah Lee. This is lovely. I've only read felt like I'd read quite a lot. 21 pages. Yeah, but it sounds like, I think it's going to be a lovely read. I will try and finish some of these and maybe do little updates at a later date of, but it's I believe the granddad has Alzheimer's, and I think his granddaughter's trying to learn about whales, and he knows something, or I honestly can't really remember. But yeah, seems like an